Awaken Outreach Center Director and the Outreach Pastor at Awaken Church.
And so we've grown to have a partnership, you and I, and the food bank and the food pantry. Uh, there's a huge amount of service that you're providing over there, and I've got the information scrolling across the bottom of the screen. But if there's people in the area that need food or services, or want to find out about the outreach program, how can they find you?
They can come to our place at 4940 Pan American Boulevard. We're in the Community Education Center building right next to the blue two-story social services building. We're right across the street from U-Haul and Talon Towing. We're
And
there.
go ahead.
We're there every Tuesday 9 to 1, Wednesday 3 to 7, Thursday 9 to 1, Friday 8:30 to 12, and Saturday 9 to 1.
And the biggest part of this informational that we do, I've gone live from the community center over there, and had upwards of 300-400 viewings of my live videos, and the importance of the public understanding what you guys do as an outreach program, with just and I don't want to limit it too, but the really focal point that I think really affects the community overall is, serving 12,000 cars that come through every month, or even more. Can you talk about the importance that that's brought to the organization itself?
Well, absolutely. The food insecurity of our community has increased since COVID, since Ian, and it's not getting better. The economy, right now, we've gone up. Just rental prices in Sarasota County have gone up in the last year and a half from about 1,400 to 2,200. And as a realtor, you know that. And all the food prices, gas prices, everything is going up so much that people just can't afford it. And I mean, go to the grocery store and look how expensive everything is. We have families coming that wouldn't be able to eat at all. Once they pay their bills, they have no money for food. So, and we're just happy that we can be a blessing to them, partner with All Faiths Food Bank, so many other organizations in the community, including the Northport Buckeyes. That you're go Buckeyes. So
Oh,
we
Buckeyes.
appreciate you doing a food drive for us, all at all your games.
Well,
And
and that it takes it really does take a community and a community foundation to do what you guys do there. I want you to talk about some of the community leaders that have really like stepped their game up, to really, I think, transition the food pantry into a really streamlined event now.
I mean, we have huge partnership with the city. The city of Northport is amazing. All the mayor, all the commissioners, city manager Fletcher, the police department, Chief Garrison, Chief Titus from the fire department are just amazing. Janet Cirillo from social services, and they all work together so much with us to help us, better serve our community, especially our Friday drive-through pantry. The city has worked together with us amazingly because they know that the community is hurting and they need fed and served. So they've done everything they could to make sure that drive-through food pantry happens. We serve over 650 cars in 3.5 hours, which is over 18 and 1900 neighbors from our community, just on a Friday, every Friday.
So we've got some steadfast volunteers, a couple ladies that sit out at the table there. Can you kind of highlight them a little bit? I love talking about them because they're unseen energy in the line because they can't stand the whole time, but they are dedicated to showing up week in and week out. Can you talk about them a little bit?
I mean, our entire volunteer team, they're all volunteers. No one is paid to be there. They just come out because they love our city, they love our community, all the people in it, and they're just amazing. Angela Engel, our food pantry leader, Betty Hastings, the assistant food pantry leader, all the other volunteers, and just on a Friday coming out. I mean, we start setting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start serving the cars at 8:30. It's a lot of effort, but they come through every week and just love on everybody coming through. And like I said, it's a lot of work, especially now in the summer with the heat.
Eight.
It's rough,
What,
but
what's the biggest need that you have seen that maybe you've gotten feedback on that people can donate?
um, our biggest need is monetary right at the moment because some of our huge expenses. We have a police detail from the Northport Police Department on Fridays, which allow us to be open because, like I said, 650 cars in 3.5 hours is a lot.
It
And
is.
along with all the normal traffic on Pan Americans. So they're just an amazing blessing. And some of the other expenses that we have, the police were our biggest expense. Now it's about even or possibly even greater is bags that we put our non-perishable items in. We make probably every week we make about 750 bags of non-perishable items. So that is a huge expense. It's probably $12,000 a year in bags, which is
Oh wow.
excessive, but it's needed. I mean, there's no other way that we have found that we could do it, and to be able to do it efficiently and you know not make it too much work on the volunteers because our volunteers just at the food pantry are serving over 2,500 volunteer hours every month. It's not counting all the other outreaches, which brings it up to 3,000. But these are all just volunteers coming every month, serving. They're the backbone of everything.
So I want to talk about these expenses for a little bit because every organization, nonprofit organization, struggles at times with the fundamentals of cash. um, it seems like it doesn't matter what group you're talking about, whether it's Little League baseball, Little League
Yep.
soccer, or any of the high school sports we have locally. The struggle is always how do we raise money, and it's no different than what you're doing at the food pantry through the church organization because this is truly just another and I hate to sound this way, but it's probably very accurately depicted. It's another added expense to the church's budget, to have all these things go on and really being blessed into the community. Because if this wasn't there, there's a lot of families that would struggle big time with the intake of food. And you know we talk about the economy. We talk about how things are stressing our community on a regular note, but sometimes we forget the importance of what we're all used to having, which is the food at our fingertips.
Yep.
There are people out there that are not blessed to have that access, and without you guys providing some of that services, they wouldn't even have that, let alone the other extra services that you're trying to provide to them. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate. I mean, right now there are so many seniors in our community that are on a fixed income, whether it's retirement, social security, or disability, that once they pay their bills, they don't really have any money for food.
Right.
So that's unfortunate. And then you have um, all the families, especially over the summers, that they don't get their kids have breakfast and lunch like during the school year, so they're hurting even more now. And we have a massive influx of Ukrainian refugees coming in that need help, and just I mean everybody after COVID, after all the COVID relief programs have ended, after Ian, so many people are hurting from that. Their houses got so much damage, and many lost their homes. And as you know, as a realtor, there just aren't places to live. I know a lot that are, you know, found themselves homeless or found themselves having to move to Arcadia, but then there wasn't jobs there, so they have to keep their job in Northport, but then they have to drive and expend a lot of money on gas. So it's just kind of a lose-lose situation for them,
Well,
which
and
is terrible.
I'm up here in Ohio, and I don't mean to talk politics at all on this, but the gas prices up here at 3.59. What are they down there in Florida right now?
Right around the same 359.
And when you add that to the cost of living, because I know that we really went up 40 cents a gallon up here, and I think we did the same thing down home.
Yep.
But when you add 40 cents a gallon to the everyday blue collar worker
Yep.
that we count on for services, some of these people are Walmart workers and different locations that, and even servers in our community,
Hmm.
volunteers at Awaken. If they're strictly volunteers and on a tight budget, adding 40 cents a gallon in a fuel price, that 100% puts the pressure of the pocketbook on giving
Yep.
a lot of times, and yet you don't seem to slow down.
Nope. I mean, we have increased from the beginning of the year, maybe 8 to 9,000 people a month to close to 13,000 people served every month at the food pantry. You know, it's like I said, with all the Ian relief programs ending, people just out of work, and there are a lot of jobs, but most are part time without benefits. So I have a lot of clients working 2, 3 part time jobs, but if they get sick, you know, then they're out of pocket a huge amount of money. Or if their car breaks down, not even counting gas and the insurance and everything like that, if their car breaks down and they don't have the money to get it fixed, then, you know, how are they going
It's
to get
just,
to work?
yeah, exactly. So you've got all kinds of scenarios that play out, and I'm going to say this because we haven't really talked about the outside stuff too much, but on when I know how I deal with people who come up to me and say I've got this problem, I deal with it. Is that sort of what, even within the outreach program, you're trying to find some results for people who volunteer with you and take care of them like family?
Yep. That's, like I said, we wouldn't be able to do any of this without the volunteers. So, we do our best to make sure that they're taken care of because, like I said, you know, in 1 month outreach, the volunteers serve 3,000 hours every month. I mean, that's a massive number. I mean,
It
if
is.
you had to pay people, $15 an hour, that's a huge amount of money. And that's just, you know, minimum wage basically.
And so what are the greatest needs dollar wise? What are we kind of telling the community on what we need to do to step our game up to keep the bags in supply and keep the police department out doing their thing? What is our monthly total on that?
For the police detail, we're talking between $1,300 and $1,500 every month, and they're absolutely necessary. The city requires us to have them to keep everything running smoothly to keep traffic safe out there because, like I said, 650 plus cars in 3.5 hours is a lot, especially with all the normal traffic along Pan American. They have to keep everybody safe, including us. And, and so that's one big expense. Another, like I said about bags, they're $60 a box for 250 bags. So we're using 3 boxes a week. That's $180, every week just for bags. We go through, we have to
Wow.
buy more fans. We have to buy tents, tables. We go through tents and tables a lot. It's a lot of work moving them around, and they take a beating. We have a lot of fans and a generator. Honestly, we need more fans. I was looking at a fan at Tractor Supply. I just happened to walk by it. It was $800, but it was almost 6 feet tall. I have a picture of me with it, you know, and to help keep the volunteers cool. Anything that we can do to keep the volunteers cool, because it's rough out there. I mean, like I said, I'm there from 3 a.m. to 1 p.m. A lot of the volunteers get there 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, you're on hot pavement, you know, it's 107 heat index. It's definitely rough.
So,
And a lot of the other things, that are needed are like we have to pay for food from all faiths once a year, and that's going to be going up. I mean, the food costs for them, they do everything in their power to keep the food costs low. They're just, all faiths is the most amazing organization possible. There's plus not just giving us food, but they try everything else that they can do to help the community. We're going to be starting a nutrition and cooking class that they're going to come teach every couple weeks, and that starts in the middle of August. They have 2 benefits specialists that come down every Friday from 9 to 12, and they can sign people up with tons of different benefits, SNAP, different food assistance, Medicare, Medicaid, all kinds of different things to help the community.
so when you're doing all these things, who's funding that now?
Most of it's from Awaken Church.
So that's a burden to the community through the giving of the everyday churchgoer at Awaken, correct?
Yeah, I would say probably 90% of the funding is from Awaken Church, at
So I
least.
and you know me, I never like to I don't want to like partner these things together because I like to separate these things a lot of times because the church does a lot to give anyway. But the everyday citizen that wants to be part of contributing to the outreach program itself, they need to understand that it's one, it's a blessing to have, and two, uh, and I've talked to you guys over there and the pastors and stuff, and you guys are inclusive, and not pushing of you got to come to the church if you're going to donate.
No,
Don't come be part of it.
no,
You really want them to be part of the outreach side of it. And if you want to come to the church, that's fine. But the outreach is really an anchor into the community, isn't it?
absolutely. Everybody is welcome. We don't turn anybody away for any reason. They can just come and get loved on, get, you know, the food. I mean, one of the biggest things, you know, it's even more important than handing out food or any of the other outreaches that we do is just being there for the community. Just talking to them, smiling at them, hey, I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you. What's going on in your life? Building relationships with them, because a lot of them, especially, the older community, many of them live alone. They don't have a lot of interaction with people. So just to talk to them, whenever they come, they have somebody to talk to, listen to.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, because that to me is along the lines of the mental health of the community. And so what you're doing is actually giving some mental health relief to a lot of people that may just be sitting at home alone and be in this negative
Yep.
area, and not being able to get out, and having that connection to the community is important to a lot of people.
Yep.
Um, can you talk about the people who have come through that have shown some emotion about getting the food, or maybe there for the first time and didn't know it was a part of the whole process, just to come in, sign up, and get a carload full of food and go on? Can you talk about that a little bit to draw that connection together?
Oh, absolutely. Here, I can give you a couple examples. One, we had a family come in, it was grandparents, and they started coming, and, they had an amazing truck, and, people are like, you know, just get to know them. And it had turned out that their daughter went to jail just after they retired, and they were, I don't know, 65. And so they instantly had six grandkids to raise. And then, not long after that, a few months later, their son, daughter in law, and three other kids moved in with them. So they went from, just retiring and being, well enough off, and to having 13 people in the household and being extremely food insecure. So, they were just greatly blessed that, they can come, and, the people are there for them, and that they can get food and not have to, go hungry and have all those kids, 9 kids, go hungry. And,
And
not counting
that's
them.
those are the things that you guys deal with, though.
Yep.
And you deal with the story, you deal with the emotion from the story a lot of times, and then week to week to week, you still deal with the return of that same truck, right?
Yep. And they're even
uh,
volunteering now.
oh, that well,
Grandmother. So that's awesome.
so, and how old is she?
I think she's 67.
Those
We have,
67.
yeah, we have, I mean, a huge amount of our volunteers are 65 and over. We even have a 95-year-old volunteer.
that that's crazy to me, and what I know who you're talking about.
Yep.
um, what is her name?
Marge.
So where does Marge sit when she's there?
Normally, she's inside in the air conditioning. She makes bags. So she's awesome. I mean, she's a blessing. Has so much energy. It's funny. She loves life, and we have a lot of other volunteers that are over 80, and they'll work on making produce boxes. You've seen it in the drive-through pantry line, or making boxes of meat for people, and they're out there in the heat. They're working hard, and and they love it. They're having a good time, and that's the whole one of the big things is I want the volunteers to have fun. They have a great time out there, serving and just having a good time with each other.
Every time I've ever come over there and done my live or just visited throughout, the camaraderie that's forming outside. There's some joking going on. There's some smiles going on, um, but there's a huge appreciation for what each individual is doing. There's no
Absolutely,
there's no small amount of volunteering you can do there that's not appreciated.
that's right.
So you've got this, I think, an unbelievably well-oiled machine now. Not that you didn't have it before, but you've done a lot, and the staff has done a lot. And the last time I talked to you, or one of the staff members, um, you've given designations for people who are there or who are in control.
Yes.
Talk about the, it's kind of like you're talking about this church function that's now management positions that they're
Mhm.
doing because you've gotten so big and you have to be so efficient.
Yep.
You have to count on other people to give insight and communicate with that. Tell about how that structure has really molded and created what you have today.
Well, just talking about drive-through pantry on Fridays, Angela Engel, she's the food pantry leader. So she's overall in charge of the pantry, and she's amazing. She's why it's so organized and efficient now. That would be not me, that's her. She's incredible. And like Betty Hastings, she takes care of all the office and data entry and a lot of other things, ordering. And we have team leaders for each section outside, different loading teams, making the produce line, the meat line. There's registration team leaders, traffic team leaders, and they're amazing. They come and they're excellent leaders. They serve and they love on all the other volunteers. I couldn't do it myself, you know, so they're an
So
amazing.
that line that they all use, it takes a village. Well,
Yep.
it takes a village there too to get this all done the right way, and you've got a lot of good-hearted people that are coming forward. I've seen, I think I've seen every commissioner there
Yep.
uh,
They're
from time to time, and they do put their time in differently.
Yep.
Uh, but sometimes you can roll through there and see three commissioners at a time
Yep.
working the tents and giving back to the community. And you know, I tend to defend each one of our city commissioners uh, in totality across the board, and I do that because the unhidden secrets that they do are some of the gems, which are the volunteer time that people don't see them in. They see them interacting with the community. They see them at events where maybe like the Fourth of July event, where it's a little more rah rah, but they don't see them behind the scenes at events like yours, where it's not as notable to be there and be present unless you're part of it and you understand why it's so important to the community and to the church overall, because the
Yep.
outreach program for the church that's developed and changed since the food pantry's been kind of injected into their system.
Yep.
Uh, can you talk about that relationship with the church and the church members, and talk about the value that that's brought within the I think the faith of the church?
Yep. Pastor Brian loves everyone. He loves the city. He loves our community, and he wants to make sure that people are taken care of in the community. When he saw a need um, that there was a need for a food pantry, he asked Angela and I to meet that need, to start up a food pantry. And we started having we have two Thanksgiving events every year, a Christmas event. We just had our big back to school event, Day for Hope, where we got 154 kids from the community ready for back to school. They're identified through the school guidance counselors being the ones that are greatly in need. They get free medical, dental, eye exams, haircuts, gift cards to Old Navy, Famous Footwear. They get backpacks of school supplies, backpacks of toiletries, tons of food from all faiths. Detweiler's Farm Market, Culver's comes, um, Antonio from Savor Restaurant comes. It's just an incredible day, and we're there just to love on the kids, give them an amazing time, and make them feel like they're all, super important.
So I want you to go back to your partners in the community
Yep.
because you've mentioned a few. All Faith, of course, is very very prominent. But go back to your partners, the Savers of the world. Talk about what Savor does, because Savor has gone from a food truck business now to a brick and mortar over on Toledo Blade. Fantastic food, great staff in there, but he's got a huge heart, and
Absolutely.
that, talk about him, and then talk about other partners that you've formed partnerships with in our community, and what that means.
So, Saver, he's come and he's cooked for us for years for Day for Hope. He's cooked for our first responder appreciation days. He cooks a great Thanksgiving meal where we serve over 300 hot Thanksgiving meals the day before Thanksgiving. Um, Culver's is an amazing partner. They always give, like this one at Day for Hope, he came and he served Matt Pretty, the owner of Culver's in Northport, came and served ice cream and sundaes to all the people that were there. He gave out gift cards to every volunteer, and he's just amazing. Some other ones, Zio's 1221 Pizzeria, he's a huge sponsor. Let's see, Mayor's Feed the Hungry is a great organization that supports us. Um, let's see, Bocalupa, Northport Buckeyes, um, Heron Creek Community is an amazing sponsor. They, especially after Ian, they they stepped up and just gave us so much for the community, for us to be able to better serve our community with freezers, every kind of thing imaginable. Um, Christian Brothers Automotive, Texera Construction. Um, there's so many that just come together, and different communities, the mobile home parks will take, do food drives for us. Northport Police Department, they do food drives for us. Northport Fire Rescue, city manager has the city do a food drive for us. It's incredible. There are so many social
And
services.
what's that do? What's that do within the walls of the church, let alone the outreach community? When you see all of the, I guess, spokes of this wheel, and the wheel just, when you add more spokes, it doesn't mean that the wheel doesn't get bigger, because you're the fact that the community outreach program is designed to incorporate more people into the wheel.
Yep,
The wheel's getting bigger, and the spokes are many,
yep,
and it really takes that moving wheel uh, to keep everything going, because not one of those organizations that you just said could do this single-handedly.
nope. But everybody working together is kind of my thing. We all need to work together to do this. Awaken Church can't do it, but getting together with all these other organizations, other churches, the city of Northport, so many groups coming together, like on a Day for Hope, we had medical people come in, we had Sumter Dental come in, um, America's Best Eyewear, the Lions Club, all to do medical, dental, eye exams. So many hairstylists and barbers from the community came in to get 154 haircuts. I mean, that's amazing in, 2 shifts. So basically, in 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, they did 154 haircuts.
That's crazy.
And
Uh,
that's like that's a huge blessing.
they could do mine in no time
I know,
whatsoever.
right? That'd be quick,
Yeah.
pretty much.
So you talk about all the spokes, but I want to talk about somebody who I've seen out there. Well, you for one, I've seen out there every single time. Angela, a lot of volunteers, and I don't know that I've told you, but I love you guys because uh, you one are full of energy, full of life. You give back to the community, and truthfully, you keep me on task because you call me and tell me, hey, it's time for you to come back out again. Because I love promoting what you guys are doing. I love being part of that. Being we're the radio station is volunteer, and I give my time there, and that's just another partner that you have
Yep.
is the radio station that is, we're just kind of quiet. We're just doing our thing, but it's about what you're doing. And that's like this cool thing that I think everybody needs to be involved in, and needs to understand. There's a large appreciation that is formed now because of the outreach that you guys have done into the community. I don't know that you hear that enough, so I will tell you that the community thanks you, and I hope the community shares this and gets this information out, because there are families out there that struggle, that need assistance along the way,
Yep.
and the different types of outreach projects that you have are really identifying some of the weakest parts of our community and trying to lift them up, correct?
Yep. Absolutely.
So if you know anybody out there, share this information, get the contact information out. Larry, go over that contact information again here real quick.
Yep. You can contact me 941-549-3902, or just come to our outreach center at 4940 Pan American Boulevard in Northport, right across the street from U-Haul and Talent Towing, which are also partners with us. They're amazing. Talent Towing, anytime anybody has a problem with 650 cars coming through the line, we definitely have people that break down or have some kind of problem. They'll come right over, take care of it so that the flow of traffic can keep moving. U-Haul, they're a great partner. We have our big Christmas event, and they help us with storage units. They're really awesome.
Well, and the connections within the community. There's one I want you to talk about a little bit, and it's other than you and Angela and all the volunteers to talk to when I come over there. It's Pastor Brian, who I just find to be this cool, low key individual. Can you talk about him?
Yes. He's probably, no, this is not a selfless plug for him because I love him, but he's probably one of the best people I've ever known. He loves people. The first Thanksgiving event we did, we went out to Sam's Club to get tons of supplies to give away, toiletries, household goods, everything. And I was not used to spending much money. I tried to do everything as cheaply as possible because I didn't have a lot of money at, you know, events. So with him, it was different. We're going through Sam's Club, and I'm like, I don't know, can we get like 10 of this item? And he just like starts putting armfuls of stuff in, just shoving everything that's on the shelf into the cart. I'm like, okay. And it goes on and on like this. And I'm like, wow, he's crazy. I'm like, I have no idea. And he's like, whatever, we're taking care of the community. And like I said, my favorite event of the year is Christmas. And so last year, Ian kind of put a little crimp into it because I planned on starting October 1st, going full speed, collecting toys and everything for Christmas. But with Ian, it kind of pushed it back a month. But we still collected thousands and thousands of toys to give away. And we did it during drive-through Pantry, which I think we served around 2,000 people that day, which there was tons of kids. I mean, so many kids coming through. And I'm kind of like, oh man, we don't even have enough toys, to give a nice amount out to each kid. And he's like, why are you stressing? I'm like, and he's like, you have a credit card, go get more. It's a church card. Just spend whatever you want, And like, so I sent guys and trucks to Walmart, and they cleaned out Walmart, and we gave more toys out. So, he's generous. He's one of the most generous people that I've ever met, which, kind of spreads to everybody around him. He says that, we move at the speed of everybody in the church's generosity, which we do. I mean, there's so many outreaches that we've started. We've started a care team that provides counseling and different other services, case management to people in the community. We have a community day, the first Saturday of every month, which is an incredible event. Besides a walk-in pantry, we have clothing, toiletry, household goods giveaways, eye exams, showers. Guys come and cook an amazing hot meal. We have haircuts, just tons of other stuff. And we have Mothers Helping Mothers come the first Tuesday of every month. There's an incredible organization. They basically set up a clothing store in our parking lot for the whole family. They have a truckload also of baby supplies. They have grants for anybody affected by Hurricane Ian that they help you fill out right there. And great group. We have, like I said, we have two big Thanksgiving events, First Responder Appreciation Day, Christmas event. We partner with the city for a lot of things, like their Easter event, for the trick or treat event, all kinds of things, and it's just amazing. We also have our big serve day every year, which we get ready for Day for Hope. We clean the entire property of the Community Education Center, social services, and we do the Florida Center. We do the Children's Way Road, the Outreach Way Road, and on Pan American from 41 past Garden of the Five Senses, plus we go in the Garden of Five Senses and clean that. And that's another thing. We've had commissioners go out and clean Pan American with us. They're just, out there not trying to get any attention. They just helping the community.
And go ahead.
And they're not the only ones. I mean, we've had the city manager, the assistant city managers out there. We've had one time, this was incredible. We were giving away a truckload of furniture, brand new furniture, and that at a furniture company donated. And it was all, people had to sign up for it. It was right after Ian, and to help the community get back together. And it wasn't supposed to be advertised, but it accidentally got advertised the night before. And it was happening immediately after drive-through pantry on a Friday. So it got taken down within an hour, but I was freaking out, honestly. That doesn't happen very often, but I was envisioning, our normal 650 cars plus hundreds of other people coming at the same time, and it was going to be kind of a disaster. So I called then Sergeant Miranda. He's Commander Miranda, but I was like, called him that night. I'm like, is there any way that I can get more of you to come out? I'll pay anything, just get as many guys as you can. And he's like, well, it's last minute, but I'll see what I can do. So that morning, Captain King, he's there, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, making sure everybody's, getting up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, we're getting everybody out here. I mean, the chief would have been there, but he was out of state. But the deputy chief, pretty much all the captains, commanders, there was probably 15 police officers plus our normal, I think we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 officers on our regular police detail. So, they came out in force just to help us. It was incredible. I was so happy.
Well, it's stories like that mean they're impactful even to listeners today. The effects that you guys are having, not just in the community, but anybody who volunteers there. A lot of your volunteers are I would say from the struggling community,
Yep.
and they've learned to give back,
Yep.
and they've learned that through the efforts of the outreach program itself. I mean, you talked about, and I put you on full screen by yourself because the list of outreach that you guys do is really uh, essential to a lot of people in our town.
Absolutely. That's
And
why we're there, though. We just want to love on Northport. I
well,
think
and
best
take,
city in the world.
well, take it away though. Take what you're doing away. Where do those citizens go?
Yep. The pastor of the last church that I went to, he had come up with this thing. He's like, one day he's like, would the community notice if we shut our doors? And he's like, that's really where we need to focus. He's like, would anybody even notice if we weren't there? And so I took that, as a personal thing. You know, we need to make sure that the community knows that we're there for them. And we want to be there for them through anything. Like during Hurricane Ian. I mean, that month, right after Hurricane Ian, we served over 18,000 people. We served with partnerships with everybody, not just in Florida, from all over the United States. And we partnered with them just in that month. I think it was about 850, 900,000 pounds of supplies. And it's just incredible.
And that, you know, when you've got all these astronomical numbers, right?
Mhm.
You talk about things that you guys do, 12,000 vehicles uh, going through, and everybody thinks that it just happens. These things just happen. They're with these outreach programs, they do just happen. They are happening, whether they're involved or not. They're happening, whether they have been through any of the outreach programs or not. They're still happening within our community,
Yep.
and they're it's not slowing down. I believe the wheel is getting bigger because there's a bigger need than we're talking about within our community. But that I think every day right now, especially with the prices like they are with food, the prices of fuel fluctuating all over the place, which shouldn't be. It should 100% not be happening. 100%. And I can say that unequivocally. It should not be happening. We need to reassess on the upper level of politics where our mindsets are, because I think we lose focus sometimes. The beauty in what you're talking about is you never lose focus, because if you were to lose focus on what you're doing, this thing that you've created um, is going to leave a lot of people stranded,
Yep.
quite frankly.
I mean, we're just here to serve God and all of our neighbors. You know, that's that's the bottom line. That's all we're here for. And I mean, so many people partner with us, like the Northport Senior Center. I mean, they're amazing. Yeah, they let us use their space for a lot of events like Day for Hope. But one of the big ones was during Hurricane Ian. We had we had so many tractor trailers, box trucks, regular trailers, vans, everybody coming from, as far away, Michigan, Indiana, Missouri, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, everybody coming here to help us. But the the incredible storage problem that it created, we filled the entire outreach center, the entire Northport Senior Center with pallets of supplies. And that doesn't even count all the pallets of water. We probably had 2 dozen pallets of water that we just stored outside. And I mean, so they were a huge blessing to us. Another one, which was something kind of crazy, on the first day we were open, the first tractor trailer that came, I just assumed all tractor trailers and box trucks had a lift gate, that went up and down. And I found out that wasn't so, So Jacqueline, Brian's wife, Pastor Brian's wife, comes over to me and she's like, "Can you get a forklift?" And I'm like, "Why do we need a forklift?" She's like, "To unload the truck, it doesn't have a lift gate." I'm like, "Okay, hold on." So I went across the street to Talon Towing, and they're like, "Well, we have a skid steer that we could use, but Swanson Automotive has an actual forklift. Why don't you ask him?" So I went over and I explained the situation. He came right over, unloaded the truck, and he's like, "Well," he gave me his card with his cell phone number. He's like, if you need me whenever to come over, just call my cell. I'll be there as fast as possible." So for the first 2 weeks, he was there a lot. And he didn't want anything for it. He was just there to bless his community. And I mean, when I say a lot, he was there like, basically all day, every day for 2 weeks, unloading tractor trailers, box trucks, just crazy.
And so bringing this community together is actually 100% working.
Oh, absolutely.
The theory that is on the website is actually pulling the community together, whether it wants to be pulled together or not. You're finding a common denominator, which is outreach in multiple facets of what you guys are doing. So you're to be commended for being actually for embedding yourself into the fabric of our city. And I think that's why people at City Hall are appreciative of what you guys are doing. I think that's why the community members themselves are appreciative. And I know for a fact that if we had more people educated on what you were actually doing, I think there might be a bigger need because I still think there's people out there that have a need that don't know these services are there.
Yep.
And so I truly believe that this could grow into and I hate to say it, but it's a massive thing now. I think it could grow into something bigger. The volunteer time, I've got like 1 minute left, so quickly, volunteer time. If students come from the middle school or high school and they want to sign off on the volunteer time, are they allowed to do it there?
Absolutely.
So this is a really cool way to do it too.
Yep. And they can come every Tuesday, 8 to 1, Wednesday, 2 to 7, Thursday, 8 to 1, Friday as early as 4 a.m. to 1, and Saturday, 8 to 1. So there are many different times available. Come as, as little or as much as you have time available. And, we appreciate any volunteers we can use. Any volunteers. We have so many different things that people can do.
So if you're interested in volunteer, reach out to Awaken Outreach Program. Also, if you're willing to give any amounts of money each month, I know that you can set that up auto program on your bank account. Please do so. It is a valuable part of our community, and we want to keep it thriving and going, and really help give back to the community of Northport. I want to say thank you, Larry Grant, for being part of the show, and get your people to share this. Let's get this information out there.
Well, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you.
Not a problem. And this is John Rawlings with Real Talk Radio saying thanks. Have a great day and be safe on the roads out there. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.